Welcome back to another episode of the Walk Podcast, where we are here with our college baseball series. And I'm so pleased to be joined by University of Tennessee baseball player, pitcher in particular, Michael Sharman. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Of course, man, of course. And dude, I'm just so grateful for you saying yes to coming on here because I know you've got a story that just needs to be told, and just super excited to hear it about it. But you grew up in Georgia. Born and raised. So Woodstock, Georgia.
Woodstock, Georgia. That's right.
So what's it like growing up in Woodstock, Georgia?
I personally loved it. My mom and dad have been there, same house for almost 30 years now. So, grew up there. I don't think they plan on leaving. That's home, obviously, and I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere else, to be honest with you. But yeah, it was a blast. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. And so Georgia, I know that like the baseball culture is pretty strong in Georgia. Did you start from playing from a young age or what?
I did. So I think around 5 or 6 started T-ball. But yeah, Southern baseball is definitely the strongest in my opinion. Great competition, especially as you get older, competition increases. But I started T-ball 5 or 6 and never looked back.
Yeah, so you playing T-ball. Did you play any other sports growing up?
I played tennis, like golf, basketball. Not really competitively in high school. I just wanted to focus on baseball. But I did play like some competitive tennis in middle school, basketball growing up and like before high school. But no, I love all sports. I'm very competitive. If it has a ball, I'll play it, and I'll want to get good at it. But really, the only one I wanted to pursue was baseball. So that's kind of the one that I've just stayed the most consistent with, and didn't want to have any other distractions.
Yeah. So your dad played tennis.
He did.
What was it like when you chose baseball over going the tennis route?
I've been playing baseball for so long, and then I just picked up a racket in middle school because some of my good buddies were really good tennis players. But he played baseball in high school. He loved baseball, so he was obviously okay with it. He wasn't like a diehard tennis fan. But no, yeah, he was a great athlete when he was a kid and played tennis at High Point University. But baseball was always my kind of true love, and my younger brother's a baseball player, and so he was always good with it. That's
cool. And so obviously, you're a pitcher now. Mm-hmm. Was it always pitching for you, or were you kind of playing around different positions, or what?
No, so I'll brag on myself a little bit. I was a pretty good first baseman my whole life, and I didn't really get super good at baseball until I was a junior. I'd always have good talent, obviously, but I was a smaller kid, so I'd always kind of have to work twice as hard. I was all-state first baseman, all-region in my junior year of high school, and then my senior year was 2020, which was the COVID year, so it was cut short, and that was pretty tough. But I loved hitting in high school. I loved it. I actually went to my first JUCO as a two-way to hit. And I threw my first bullpen, and my coach was like, "No, you're a pitcher." So that was kind of funny, but I love the PO life now. It's great.
Yeah, and so you mentioned the JUCO. When you were in high school, what did things look like when it came to what college baseball was going to look like for you?
Yeah, so like I said, I was kind of a smaller kid, not the biggest, strongest, fastest. Didn't throw the hardest, so it was kind of JUCO route. So I graduated in 2020, which is a COVID year, and I decided to take a gap year to just train. And I got this DM from Parkland, which is eventually where I ended up, and they texted me, and their head coach, which was the pitching coach, I got along with great, and I loved him. And I eventually committed there. And then right before the season started at Parkland, the head coach left and went to the Texas Rangers. So good on his part, kind of bad for all the pitchers that went there for him because we all loved him. And he was very smart, very intelligent guy. But yeah, out of high school it was mostly JUCO because I just wanted those extra couple of years to train and kind of improve on my body and start improving all my metrics to eventually build up to get where I wanted to be.
Yeah, so you went to Parkland to start it out.
Mm-hmm.
After that year, you took off, and then you ended up going to another JUCO
Right.
back home in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
What did that transition like? And like, was that still kind of part of your plan or vision to like play D1 baseball, like when you made that transition?
Yeah. So growing up, my all-time dream was to play SEC baseball. Like that's what I wanted to do. Like I don't want to stop working until I get there, type of deal. But after Parkland, like it was tough because like I made a lot of good friends there, but the coaching change and the head coach leaving was hard, and being in Illinois so far from home wasn't easy either, and it not the ideal baseball weather. So so I think the switch was obviously the right move in the end. But yeah, I wanted to come back closer to home, and Georgia Highlands it's only like 30 minutes from my house, so I actually just lived at home. So I got 2 extra years living at home, which was a blessing in disguise because I love my family, love being around them. But yeah, I made that switch after my first year at Parkland, and then my first year at Georgia Highlands, which was going to be my sophomore year. I go out in the fall for my first start. I got some schools watching me and everything. Very first pitch, I do a shuffle throw on the mound. My back leg slips and caves in. Huge crack, pop, ACL, MCL, meniscus, all torn. So there goes my season just like that. And I go to the doctor. It's funny. He checks my leg. He's like, I don't think your ACL's torn, but we're still going to get an MRI. I'm like, okay, that'd be very ideal if it was just MCL, right? No, I get the MRI back. It's all blown out. I'm sitting in bed for 6 weeks with a dang brace on, and it was brutal. But, I mean, without that injury, who knows if I would even be where I am today. So it's a blessing in disguise. You got to learn from it. You got to take those downs, and you get the ups that come with them. So,
yeah, I was like thinking about that because like for athletes, like injuries are something that can really derail an athlete, especially because they can find like a lot of their identity and just their performance on the field. Can you take me through just like some of the emotions that came with like tearing, pretty much blowing up your entire knee, and then also just like maybe how you lean on your faith like through that?
Right. Yeah, 100%. So initially it's extremely tough. I'm thinking like, oh, this is going to be my season where I get recruited, and I feel good, like very confident in my ability. I'm getting better and all that stuff. Then it happens, and it's like all those things go out the window, and you think to yourself, you get all these thoughts. It's like, God, why would you let this happen to me? Like what? Like why? Right? And it's hard, but in the end, it's really how you go about it and how you think of it and what you want out of the end. Like you could either quit, or you could either like be, all right, God, like I'm going to put my trust in you. And obviously this was something that you wanted me to go through and build from it. So that's the route that I chose, because I love baseball. Like I'll do anything to keep playing, and so I'm not going to quit. And obviously God's going to be right there with me, and I'm going to keep him by my side. So it's like, all right, God, we're going to get through this thing, and I'm going to work my butt off to get back to where I was before. And that's what happened. And I'm trying. It's hard, but you got to keep your trust in him, even when you don't feel like it sometimes, and even when you feel like you're being punished or something like that. But yeah, the thing that I always tell myself is, Jesus, I trust in you. I mean, I've JITIY on my glove. I say it before every outing, before anything, when I'm scared or afraid, or I just say, Jesus, I trust in you. And that was kind of my whole thing during that process. And I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I was going to say, because like now obviously you have the ability to look back at some of those things in hindsight, and even maybe every time you've been fearful or anxious or whatever that is, and now you kind of have the perspective to be like, oh, I kind of see what you were doing there.
Right.
Do you feel like you like think about that much? Or
100%. Looking back at it, it's like, thank goodness that happened. And in the moment, obviously, you're not thinking that, and it's like, why me? But looking back now, I seriously don't know if I would be in this position if it didn't happen. So, yeah, it's a blessing in disguise is what I think.
Well, yeah, because you get hurt while you're at JUCO, yet now you're playing on one of the best teams in the country. You're playing SEC baseball that you always dreamed of. Like, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how you can blow out your knee right before you end up, like, so you got hurt, and then the following year you're on Tennessee?
So,
or what was the timeline there?
So I spent 2 years at Georgia Highlands in my
2
first
years,
year.
okay.
So I had to redshirt that year. And then I came back, recovered, pitched that whole year, JUCO All-American, made it to the World Series, and then made it to Tennessee.
That's
yeah. Coach V recruited me in the fall so basically a year after I tore my ACL. And he liked the fact that I tore my ACL because he likes like a good comeback story. So that might have helped it.
Dude, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Like I guess it does really show a lot though about you, and because when you can bounce back like that, like it says a lot for you. Just not only as a player, but just as a person, like somebody to have in the locker room and all that, which is cool. So I want to get in a little bit more, just like it's kind of like your faith walk. Like, did you grow up in the church? Just like really like. When did like your faith kind of become real for you?
Yeah. So growing up, I'm extremely blessed to have this, but I have two parents who are extremely grounded in their faith. Grew up devout Catholic, go to mass every Sunday. Don't miss some Sunday mass, still don't, unless we're on the road and I physically can't, but no, I'm super blessed to have two great parents. My mom is like a saint. I love her to death. Dad is amazing. But yeah, my mom kind of keeps us all grounded, and she brought us up in the church, and so did my dad, obviously. But my dad, when my parents met, my dad was raised Catholic, and my mom was not, and so they met. And my dad started bringing her to church, and she eventually got baptized when she was around 30, I believe. And then she fell in love with the faith and kind of brought my dad back closer. So she's kind of been our rock. And now my dad is obviously super, super grounded in his faith as well now. But they brought us up in the church, like I said, not missing mass, teaching us church class every Sunday, PSR, and I think that was a huge blessing, and that's a huge help because I had such a great foundation growing up that, like, now I'm in college and I still hold on to it so dearly, and that it's easy because I have such a great foundation of being around it, like, every week when I growing up. And so I was baptized as a baby and grew up, in around 16, 17, I got confirmed in the church, and, that's kind of the point where it's like, this is what you're choosing for yourself now, and you're kind of taking those vows again that you did at your baptism and believing them to be true, and that's what I did, and ever since then, I just try and keep my walk and my faith as strong as it can be. And a huge props to my parents, just bringing us up the right way and teaching us everything we need to know. And my mom is still doing it to this day, and they're great. Super blessed to have my parents raise me the way that they did.
Man, it just fires me up too, because I think like one thing, at least I've seen, is a lot of people, sometimes they can grow up in it and then they go off to college and then they kind of start to fall away,
right.
Because they're not like in their same ecosystem that they grew up in. But having like a solid foundation with like, you know, growing up in it, having great parents to look up to, and like seeing them like walk out their faith and really like just living for Jesus, right? Because it's when you see that like in your parent, I think there's so much fruit in being like, oh, like I look up to them so much, and this is who they follow. Like I want to follow. I want to follow.
Right.
I want to follow him.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to see. I guess like on a daily basis, like how do you like invite Jesus into just like every day to like want to just like live for him and keeping him in mind always?
Yeah. So I'm obviously not a perfect saint, right? There are ways that I can improve in my faith, obviously, like us all. But, you know, especially like baseball wise, I never start an outing without saying a prayer on the mound. You know, I always talk to Jesus before the games, but on a day-to-day basis, it's really like just watching what I do every day and trying to invite him in the mornings with a daily morning prayer. Just kind of start your day off right. I think that's very important. Sometimes I miss days, but I try to every morning start out with a daily prayer, and I think that really sets the tone. You know, if you start your day off right, it's obviously going to be a good day. And talk to friends. I get on calls with my friends about we just have chats about Jesus and how we're doing with our walk and kind of check in on each other. But and then before I go to bed, I try to say a nightly prayer, but and read my Bible, just get into some word. But that's about it. I just kind of try and do as much as I can, really.
It's great because, and that's the thing about prayer is like, it's just spending that time like with your Father, and I know that he just enjoys when we just come to him in obedience and just wanting to like, just keeping him top of mind, right? Like it goes such a long way, and even for us, it changes our heart.
Sure.
Because it's like, the more we understand, like, man, like, God, you're in control, not me. And you kind of humble yourself before him.
Right.
It kind of allows him to like work a lot more in our life.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see.
Yeah. Especially it's easy in today's day and age to kind of not do that and push him out the window, but you can't do that. You got to stay grounded.
Most definitely. And so this is like a little bit of a broader question, but I'm just be curious, like, what your answer would be. Who is Jesus to you?
That is a good question. I'd say he's my savior. He's someone that I can go to whenever I want, and I know that he's going to be there. And when I mess up, he's going to be there to pick me back up. And he's the only person that will never fail us, never not be there for us, and someone that you can talk to and will always be there when you fail or mess up. I think that's about it. But yeah.
That's good.
It's our Savior.
He is. And it's I think what's so amazing about just like the good news is you don't have to carry the weight anymore.
Right.
You know? Like I think that's something that when you don't know him, you feel like everything's on your shoulders. And there's something we said about like that's why the good news is just so amazing. It's such an amazing free gift. And it's cool to see kind of how. So I want to ask, so do you have like when it comes to like the Tennessee baseball team, like do you have other like fellow believers who, you guys kind of like build each other up? I don't know if it's like Bible studies or if it's just like talking to the guys about your faith to like encourage each other. Like what does that look like on the team?
So we do have a Bible study group that we'll do every Thursday in season, and it's led by our chaplain, Luke Hochaver, who was a former #1 overall draft pick who went to Tennessee, SC Pitcher of the Year, way back when. But no, he's great, and he comes around and we hold that group every Thursday and have a little Bible study, and then before game days on Sundays, we'll have a little Bible study, like 10 minutes before the game, and anyone can come in, really. But yeah, that's kind of what we do within our team. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so I guess more of like a team question here. Maybe a little less related to faith, but more so, like, you guys come into the year obviously coming off like winning the national championship,
Right?
And so like obviously expectations are really high. How have you kind of like felt this season has gone, like through the ups and downs, kind of leading into now, like heading into the regional when we're currently filming this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's been a great season. I think we had an insane start, 20-0, like best start in program history. Feel really great, and I think it's just a classic baseball season. Like you have your ups, you start out really hot, start out SEC play really good, and then we get punched a few times, and we punch back, and then we get punched pretty hard. So it's just the ups and downs of baseball. It's such a hard game, and in this league, it's so competitive. Like some of the games we lost, we easily could have won. So it's not like a concern, because I know a lot of fans are concerned or whatever, and they talk on Twitter or whatever. But no, it's just baseball, and you're gonna have your ups and downs. But we're a great team, and I feel very confident that we're gonna perform in this postseason and put a good run together. Hopefully, God willing. But yeah, we got a great group of guys and a lot of talented guys on the team, and I think if we play the way that we know we're capable of, we can be something special.
That's great. And man, you like, I was just thinking about this. Like, you got to take me through the combined no hitter.
That was a fun one. Obviously Liam Doyle started the game, gives us a great start. Obviously, like he has all season, and then we start throwing guys out there that come in relief, and Brandon Arvinson, Tanner Franklin, Braden May, me. I forget I don't know if I'm forgetting one other guy. But anyways, he calls me to close the last inning, and I don't even know the no-hitter was going on. I go out there, and I get the first out, and everyone's kind of cheering a little louder, and I'm like, okay, because we're up by a good bit. And I get the second out, and it's like a ground ball up the middle, and it hits my leg and bounces off to the second baseman, and he still throws him out. And like the crowd went crazy, and like the dugout went crazy. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I look at the scoreboard, I see the 0 in the hits column, and I'm like, oh gosh, I can't screw this up. I got 2 outs. So I get ahead on the guy, and that was huge. And then I think it was 1-2 or something, and he calls a fastball. I was like, I'm just going to throw this as hard as I can. I do it, get jam shot to the little flare to the first baseman. He gets it, and I was just like, just a big relief. Like, oh my gosh, awesome thing that I was able to be a part of, and God let me get the last 3 outs and be a part of something special. So it was really cool.
I was gonna say, because like, I can't believe you didn't even know going in.
I know. I had no clue.
You had no idea, but I guess in some ways maybe a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you were running out there and you're like, oh man, we're 3 outs away from pulling off, adding to history here,
right.
and
right,
dude, that's so cool too though, for you to be able to be like the 9th inning closer.
Yeah.
Just because like
special.
I think for you, like, that's a game you'll always be able to look back on.
Sure.
And when I saw that, I was like, man, dude, like, that's sick. Like,
yeah.
That's like a bucket list thing.
It was very
to be
cool.
part of.
It was special.
Well, that's cool. Another question I have for you would be, how would you describe Coach V?
It's hard. He's an interesting guy. It's funny. I love him. He's a great guy, great coach, obviously. A lot of success. great man, very respectable, and very well respected by all of us. But it's funny. It's sometimes in the team meetings, like he'll give like a talk, and after we're all like, "What the heck is he talking about?" Because he just goes in like circles, and it's funny. But no, he's awesome. He's funny. He's very respected, and once you grow your relationship with him, like he's funny. Like he's like a player's coach. He's a young guy, and he relates well to us. So I love him. I mean, we all love him and respect him a ton, and he's a great coach. And so I think he's great.
That's great. What is it with, or I'll say it this way, what is it with the Tennessee baseball fans being like so dedicated?
I don't know. I think SEC fans just care a lot. Just care a lot about all sports, like football, baseball, basketball. I mean, some of the things that I've seen like on the road, it's just that some of these other parks, the way they treat us, just crazy. How people can care so much about, college sports. But I mean, I get it. It's their school, and they want they want us to do well and praise us when we win and kind of hate on us when we lose. It's just the way sports are, and it's just the way it is. People love college sports, which is a good thing.
It is great because I've noticed I live in Ohio, but like SEC baseball is just a different animal,
right?
Compared to the Big Ten, which is like it's really cool to see though that it's in a lot of ways it almost feels like a second like MLB to like the South,
sure,
and which is really cool.
Yeah.
And are there any like traditions or like little interesting things that like the Tennessee baseball team does that maybe some people or myself wouldn't know about? Obviously, Rocky Top's sweet.
Yeah, like on a game day, or
I would say on a game day. Yeah, like anything after home runs, anything.
Yeah. So the jacket and hat combo that we do, it's like the leopard skin pullover thing that we do after a home run. The guy comes in, we put the coat and daddy hat on them, and he goes through, and we're all give him high fives. So that's one thing that I can think of right now. It's home run celebration, and I think that's definitely the biggest thing that the fans would know about as a tradition on a game day. But
that's cool. What's your favorite pitch?
Mine? It's a good question. I think when my changeup's working and it's on, that's fun to throw. But curveball, I've always been able to put it where I want, and when my arm feels good, my fastball feels good. That's a good feeling too. I don't throw like the hardest, but I've always been able to throw strikes. So throwing my changeup wherever I want it is a good feeling.
How do we feel about the Pope being a baseball fan?
It was funny. After he got inaugurated, it came up on my Instagram feed. I was scrolling. It was like, the Pope is a baseball fan. It was a video of him being at a White Sox game. I think it was the World Series. And he was in the stands. And that's the first time I saw it sitting in my family. I was like, no way, he's a baseball fan. So I thought it was great. He's American. He's just being a little baseball fan in the stands. And now he's a Pope. So I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's great.
Okay, I got a couple more questions here.
Sure.
I guess just what are your goals for the future?
My goals are to play baseball for as long as I can until someone tells me not to, or someone tells me I can't anymore. That's kind of always been, baseball is my first love, so I want to do that as long as I can. Have a family, have kids, raise them up in the church. Get others closer to God through baseball. And then after baseball, I don't really know as of right now, because that's kind of been my plan A. So I want to do that for as long as I can. get married, have a family. That's kind of it.
I guess give me another idea here on a question. Like, obviously, like, God's really blessed you with, like, your athletic ability and being able to throw a baseball and I guess in the past even be able to hit. What's kind of your perspective on just, like, the talents that you've been given?
Yeah, so he has blessed me with great hand-eye coordination to be able to play all these sports at a high level. Or not all these sports, but like I'm like I can play other sports, I'm pretty good at it, but baseball obviously, but I think he gave me the smaller body and which gave me the work ethic that I have now to work twice as hard and get to where I am today. So I think he gave me the athletic ability to make me, work hard and get to where I am. So, because, like, as a freshman in high school, like, I was a little stick. I was a little twig. I was, like, 5'10", 120 maybe. Just, like, a baby. And, my high school coach always gave me a hard time. He would see me in the hallways. He was like, Sharm, you ought to be doing walking lunges walking down these hallways. So, it's funny, but no, I've always, like, because I kind of got made fun of, like, being skinny, like, growing up, and I did not like it because I knew, like, I was good at baseball and I had all this potential to be great, and so I always, like, loved to work out, like, because I loved the grind. Like, I loved not being, like, the best, but always having something to work for. Like, I know what I'm capable of. Like, I know that if I keep working, I can get to where I want to be. And so that grind of just the uphill battle of, trying to better myself, that was always fun to me, and it still is. Because I'm still not the biggest or strongest or whatever, but I love working hard. So I think that's a trait that I've got.
Yeah.
I've built.
That's so cool because, like, as you were kind of speaking there, I was like, man, like, I've never really heard somebody describe of, like, I'm thankful that God made me smaller, so nothing really came too easy,
Right.
and I had to work twice as hard,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore it's probably, and that's the thing too, is, like, obviously it translates to baseball, but, like, it's going to translate to everything
Right.
that you do, like, having to just work a little extra hard.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell somebody who maybe is like a freshman in high school right now and maybe wants to, be an athlete in college, and they might be thinking, man, like, this is going to be a long, hard road?
I would say it is because I did it and I went through it, and it is never, I would say 99% of athletes, it's never straight uphill. Like, you go up, you get knocked down again, injuries, blah, 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 whatever. It's hard. Like, playing sports is not an easy thing, especially if you want to pursue it for the long run. There's going to be battles. There's going to be things that you have to work through. And as long as you're willing to work hard and get past them, then that's all you need. Because literally the only thing to keep me going is, like, how much I love baseball and how much I love the grind. So if I didn't, I would have quit. Like, I'm not big enough. I'm not good enough, so I'm just going to quit. No, it's like, okay, I was given this athletic ability, but obviously didn't get blessed with a good body or anything, so I'm going to work hard because I love it, and I'm going to keep going and not stop. So it's like, that's really it. Just enjoy it and have fun, and don't lose the love that you have for the game, and that's what will keep pushing you, really.
Dude, that's, like, great. And I even just got to thinking because, like, obviously, like, the Lord's really put on your heart, like, the love that you have for the game. Mm-hmm. And what's so cool about it, though, is this is just something that kind of popped in my head, and I'd just be curious to riff on, is it's, like, the beauty that we see in, like, a game, just, like, literally throwing a ball around, hitting it over a fence, whatever, like, it's, like, beautiful, but we find it to be, like, fun, and I feel like those things are, like, all like given to us from him. Like,
Right.
like even just like
100%.
a routine, like even just like a strikeout, just like being able to like throw a ball 90 some mile an hour, and like it's all like God given beauty. It's cool.
100%. Everything's God given, man. Nothing just happens by accident. Like it's all from him. You know, I would definitely, none of us would be here if it wasn't for him. So
It's great. And so to close it out with like one final question. So Michael, like if somebody's like watching this and they maybe are just like feeling like, man, like I'd love, like I'm interested in like, you know, turning to Jesus, or like, you know, taking like a next step and just like in their faith walk. Like what encouragement would you give somebody who maybe is interested in that?
yeah, sure. I would say go for it. I mean, I know a lot of people like sometimes can get scared, or you know, have doubts about it, you know, because they see other people that may not be, you know, living the way that you would think a Christian would live or something. But it's not about that. It's about like your personal relationship with Jesus. And if you dive into that and you really just focus on him, you can't go wrong, because you're going to start to see the way he works in your life, and you're going to get knocked down. And if you turn to him, you're just going to feel better. Like everything in your life, like when I'm the closest to God, that's when I'm the most happy. Like that's when everything is good and calm, and you know, my just daily thoughts are better, my relationships are better, and I just feel better about myself. And that's how I know he's real, because like, I mean, it's just, there's so many things that have happened and so many miracles that I've seen. You just can't deny it. It's just, there's so much proof out there that he's real, and that he's the God, and he's always going to be there. So if you're scared, step in and, you know, start your walk with him. Just talk to him daily and start that relationship, because it can be a good one if you want it to be. And he can be there for you whenever you need him. So that's what I would say.
Amen, man. That's
Amen.
awesome. Well, thanks again, Michael, so much for coming on this podcast, and
Thank
for
you
everybody
for having
watching. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this one, and really just best of luck to you and just all your personal endeavors, and also Tennessee baseball team, man, here for the postseason.
Yeah. Thank you so much. God bless.